6, I would say 6 squared, to be honest. And this is 6 times 6, which is, thank you, 36. Okay. Now we can also do it in the calculator. Most calculators do have a square button. Delmar was just pointing that out. So you do have a squared button. You can use that one, but this button will work for any exponent, right? Just put any exponent in, and I get my 36. This button is great because it'll be used for any exponent I give you, even like even an exponent, like I could give you exponent 1.5.
Did you do the caret and then press 2? Sorry.
Yep, that's all I did. 6 caret 2.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. Has everyone found the exponent button on their phone or calculator? Okay, what about this? No? Okay, I'll come. 9 exponent 4. No fancy name for that, so I just have to go. I'm going to do it the shorthand way, though. So, 9, and I hit that caret symbol, 4. 65, 61. Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna have to do this. Hold on. Okay, who didn't get the? Who doesn't know where the exponent is? Nope. That's okay. Here, so yours doesn't go up top, but you're just going to do that. Okay, so let's do this 9 caret 4. That's the number. 65, 61. I can come around later too. Yeah, you're not going to have all of these. You're just going to have one of these. All right, so that's pretty much it for knowing what exponential or what exponents mean and what they do. Let's just quickly do. I'm going to quickly run to. This can just be done with your calculator, by the way, right? Is that okay? Exponential form would be what? How many 2's do you see?
4.
Yep, so you just read it like that, okay? I'm going to expose you to one more thing, and of course we'll review these skills too when you actually use them in a word problem. But I just want to expose you to the vocabulary. You just saw this word square, right? Square and cubed. So the opposite of squaring and cubing a number is square rooting and cube rooting. So this is the weirdest one, right? How many people have seen this symbol before at some point in your math career? Square root? Yeah. So it's the square root symbol. It's actually called the radical symbol. It's used to represent the root of a number. The number placed under the radical sign is the radicand. So you're getting lots of technical language here. That's not that important right now. All I want you to know is when you're asked to find the square root of 4, that you can find it on your calculator, and that would be 2, right? So I just want to concentrate on where that square root symbol is on your calculator. And if you have a square button, like here I had this x squared button, usually the square root is found just above it because they're connected, right? So because my square root button is above the real button and it's printed in blue, I have to hit my second function and the x squared button to activate it. Every button on every calculator you guys have, even your phones, every button operates at least 2 other functions. Just because there's so many things we have to do in math and science class, we couldn't possibly have a calculator with 300 buttons on it, right? 300 separate buttons. It would be way too big. So every button doubles and triples up its use, right? So just look for the color. This calculator, and these are the ones you'll be using shortly. See how every button on my calculator has a blue and a green extra button? If I want the blue extra button, I hit the blue button. If I want it, the green, if I want to get into the green menu, I have to hit the green button. Make sense? So because if you look close, there's my square root sign. That means I have to press blue to get my blue square root. What's a square root that you guys know from memory?
9.
The square root of 9? What's the square root of 9? 3, right? What's another one? What's another nice square number that you can find the square root of? Just
4.
square root of 4. How about the square root of 16? That's another one, right? Yeah? What does that mean when I'm doing the square root of 16 equals 4? What does that actually mean? It's related to the squaring, right? The square root.
Isn't it like how many times it takes to get to 16?
Yeah, so the square root of 16 is 4. Okay, that's in English language. So square root of 16 equals 4. This is called the square root sign, right? Because 4 squared equals 16. See how they're inverses of each other? So I would say 4 squared equals 16. 4 squared equals 16. If I want to go backwards, I go square root of 16 equals 4. See how that works? Okay, what's another one? 5 squared equals 5 times 5, 25. Going the other way, if I want to start with my answer and I square root it, that gives me 5. Now your calculator is going to do all these things for you, but this is why this is called, like, this is the 5 squared, that word squared, and this is the square root. Squares and square roots are opposite. Of 25 is 5. 5 squared is 25. They go together. They're inverses of each other. Okay, so all I want you to do today is know on your personal little calculator where your exponent button is and where your square root button is. Let's try. I'm just going to talk about square roots today. Let's just talk about square roots.
Explain how you do when you have the end answer, how to
Sure.
do
Okay.
it backwards.
Let's try this. Determine the square root of the following numbers. So we want the square root of 576. Let's try that. These are ones you can't do in your head. I don't think. Maybe. You might be able to. Does anyone know from memory what the square root of 576 is? Did you know that from memory?
No.
Okay, so I would get my square root button, grab my square root button, 576, 24. You are correct, Christy. Okay, I don't know what the square root of 324 is. All I do know is it's got to be less than 24, right? Because 576 is bigger than 324. Yeah, you're just typing it in. So it's easy to type it in. I also want you just to start thinking about what it means too, right? I'm going to stop here. And all I'm going to get you to look at is, if you haven't finished that worksheet I gave yesterday, just do this little assignment 4, and then I'm going to hand out some word problems for you. So, sorry, which one, ladies? Did you want?
Oh yeah, you already
This one?
explained when you do it. So it's the same as what we used to do.
Yeah. Well,
Or, I guess-
sorta. How are you
No,
going to
it's
figure
not.
out? Okay. Well, let's do this one. Write in words, evaluate. That's easy. This one's easy. This one's easy. 5 raised to power 5, so I know that. Okay, now I'm going to have to find something that multiplies by itself, I guess, to get 729. Maybe there's more than one number. Okay, does 2 multiplied by itself equal 729? How do you know? Yeah, like, how about 2? Let's go 2 exponent. Give me an exponent. 2 exponent 8. Too small. 2 exponent 10. Too big. Well, the only number between 8 and 10 is 2 exponent 9? No. So 2 doesn't work, right? You want to try 3?
So is it mostly just a bunch of guessing then?
Yeah, at this stage, till you start developing numbers. I may as well not try 1, right? 1 to any exponent is just going to equal 1. 2 doesn't work. Let's go 3. Someone give me a number. 7? 3. Yeah, 7's too high. Let's do 6. Oh, 6. There we go. So when you play with numbers enough, and playing is good, you're going to look at 729 in a couple weeks and you're going to know, oh yeah, that's a power 3 number. I know that, right? Because you start to play with numbers, you start to know them more. Okay. You can do these now, right? Just with your calculator. So finish that up, and then what I'm going to give you, and this is not for hand in, you're going to be correcting your own. And it's just to, again, to get used to some language that you might see. You can work with a buddy, you can work on your own, you can work in a little team. I might get you to share some of your answers. Some of these are super easy. You can do that with a calculator. Some might make you think a little harder. Can't stop recording.